Good morning and welcome to the Daily Light Devotion. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Sunday and looking forward to this week, the third week of September. Today I'm recording for the 15th of September and we'll be looking at today's devotion from Acts chapter 25, verses 1 to 12. The title is Standing Firm Before Authority. Now, we know that last week we looked at how Paul was in trial and Paul's case now comes before Festus, right, the new governor. The Jewish leaders quickly try to plot to kill Paul, right? And yet Paul wisely appeals to Caesar, using his right as a Roman soldier, Roman citizen. These passages teach us that God's protection and the importance of wisdom and courage to stand firm in faith. So, verses 1 to 3. Now, when Festus had come to the province after 3 days, he went up to Caesarea to Jerusalem. The high priest and the chief men of Jews informed him against Paul, and they petitioned him, asking a favor that he would summon him to Jerusalem while they lay in ambush along with the road to kill him. So the enemy of the gospel didn't give up. They plotted against Paul. And, uh, Paul was, you know, there was continual opposition, right, of what Paul was standing for and for the gospel. And, but he trusted God to protect him and to see him through this challenge. Verses 4 and 5 say, But Festus answered that Paul should be kept in Caesarea and that he himself was going there shortly. So Festus knowingly, unknowingly blocked the plot by insisting Paul stay in Caesarea, right? And God can use even secular people, right? And unexpected decisions to safeguard his servant. Verses 6 and 8 say, When he had remained among them, the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Paul to be brought. And when he had come, the Jews laid many serious complaints which they could not prove. While Paul answered, Neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I offended in anything at all. Now, false accusations have no evidence. That's why they're false, right? And Paul stood clear of his conscience, like four. So, living in such integrity that when accused, truth exposes the lies. That's what Paul was doing here. Verses 9 to 11. But Festus, waiting to do Jews a favor, answered Paul and said, Are you willing to go up to Jerusalem? So Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat where I ought to be judged. I appeal to Caesar. So Paul understood, what the Jewish people were trying to do. He had a spiritual insight and he used wisdom. And he said he refused to compromise and wisely used his rights as a Roman citizen to appeal to Caesar. And in those days, when you appeal to Caesar and you're a Roman citizen, you get a trial in Rome. So that shows courage and wisdom to go hand in hand. God gives both when we depend on Him. Then Festus said in verse 12, when he had conferred with council, answered, You have appealed to Caesar. To Caesar you shall go. So Paul's path to Rome was sealed. God was moving him towards his destiny to witness in the capital of this empire, right? And when doors close in one place, God opens a greater one. So, what are some of the life applications we can learn from these 12 verses? Opposition is real, right, to the gospel, to God. God's protection is greater. Remember, when we walk in integrity, truth defends itself against lies. God is always working for us and protect us to make sure that, you know, lies are exposed. In fact, the revelation I've had is anything that is sinful, that sin will automatically sooner or later expose, um, know what is happening. And we need to use wisdom and discernment. Faith doesn't cancel strategy, remember. Trust God's evidence. He can use earthly systems to fulfill his heavenly plan. When pressure to compromise, we need to stand firm in Christ. So I want to encourage you today. Paul's story shows us that God's hand is at work, even in trials and acquisitions. Our faith can be tested, right? But opposition cannot stop God's purpose. Like Paul, we can stand firm with courage, knowing our lives are in God's hands. So that is something what we need to understand. That is what standing firm before um, authority means. We need to be really uh, have that assurance and hope that comes from following Jesus Christ. And that only comes when we are very close to God. We know God, we magnify Jesus more than anything else in our lives. So I want to thank you for listening to watching the devotion today. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful Monday.